The courtroom was quiet. Everyone thought it would be a simple divorce case. No shouting, no drama, just papers, signatures, and moving on. But what started as a calm hearing soon exploded into chaos. Accusations flew like fire. Secrets came out that no one expected. By the end, the whole courtroom was gasping for air. This is the story of Mark and Linda, a couple who once loved each other, but now fought like enemies. And when the truth came out, the judge had no choice but to slam the gavel harder than ever before. Mark and Linda had been married for 12 years. They lived in a quiet neighborhood. On the outside, they looked perfect, but behind closed doors, things were different. Linda accused Mark of ignoring her, of caring more about his business than his family. Mark said Linda was controlling, always trying to make him look small. When they came to court, everyone expected the usual arguments about money, the house, maybe custody of their dog. At first, it was calm. Their lawyer spoke softly. The judge listened. It felt like just another divorce case. But then Linda stood up. She had fire in her eyes. She said, "Your Honor, Mark has been hiding things, and I can prove it." The courtroom shifted. People whispered. Even Mark looked nervous. Linda pulled out a folder. Inside were pictures, bank statements, and messages. She accused Mark of having a secret bank account. Not just money for himself, but money he took from their joint savings. Money meant for their children's future. Mark jumped to his feet. "That's a lie," he shouted. But Linda wasn't done. She showed text messages between Mark and Inebria's, the woman living next door. The texts were not about friendship. They were about late-night meetings, hotel stays, and broken promises. Gasps filled the courtroom. The neighbor, sitting in the back row, covered her face. Mark tried to speak, but his lawyer pulled him down, whispering, "Stay quiet." Linda's lawyer pushed forward. "This is not just a divorce. This is betrayal. This is fraud." The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Mark, is this true?" Mark shook his head, but his silence said more than words. Just when everyone thought it couldn't get worse, Mark's lawyer stood up. He had his own folder. "Your Honor, if we're talking about betrayal, then Linda must also answer for her secrets." The room froze. He revealed messages between Linda and a man from her gym. Not only messages, but photos, 2 smiling dinners, gifts, even a weekend trip. Linda's face turned pale. Mark shouted, "See! She's no angel either!" The courtroom was no longer calm. It was a battlefield. Both sides yelled. Accusations flew. Cheating, stealing, lying. The judge banged the gavel, yelling for silence. But no one was listening. It felt like revenge had taken over the whole room. And then came the final blow-hidden evidence. A witness was called, the couple's old housekeeper. She testified that both Mark and Linda had been keeping secrets. She saw Mark with the neighbor. She saw Linda with the man from the gym. She even said their fights had been so bad that the children once called her for help, scared for their safety. The judge's face turned red. The whole courtroom sat in shock. What started as a divorce was now a storm of betrayal, lies, and broken trust. After hours of shouting, evidence, and tears, the judge gave the final ruling. He said both Mark and Linda had betrayed their vows. Both had lied, both had hurt their family. The house was to be sold. The money divided. Custody of the children would go to Linda, but with strict rules. Mark would pay support, but also attend counseling. Mark slammed his hand on the table. Linda burst into tears. The neighbors whispered, "This is the worst divorce we've ever seen." As everyone packed their papers, the judge gave one last warning. Marriage is built on trust. Without it, there is nothing. Let this case remind everyone's secrets do not stay hidden forever. The courtroom fell silent. Mark walked out without looking back. Linda stood still, shaking, as if the fight had taken her last strength. And just when it seemed over, a final twist came. The neighbor the woman caught in the text walked up to Linda and whispered, "You think you won, but Mark isn't the only one with secrets." Linda's eyes widened, but the neighbor walked away, leaving a shadow of mystery. The story didn't end in court. It was only the beginning of another battle waiting outside those doors.